Hey guys, so in today's video I just want to talk about changing the strings on a classical guitar. This is an electric classical, but it still has the same nylon strings, same setup on the bridge. So first of all, we're going to do the same procedure as in the last video that I made about changing the strings on an electric guitar. And that's pretty much the same sequence if you're going to change the strings on an acoustic steel string guitar. It's pretty much the same as an electric, however, in the bridge they have these pegs that come out. And so you take out each peg like a tooth, and the ball end of the string goes underneath that peg, and you put the peg back in, and it tightens into the bridge, and that's how a steel string works. So I didn't want to make a separate video for that because it's kind of the same exact thing as the electric, it's just the bridge is different, that's all. But for classical guitars, it's a whole different story because you're using nylon strings, and you have to tie the strings onto the bridge, and also sometimes you will want to tie off the strings up in the headstock as well. So I basically just loosen the strings a bit to get them slinky before I cut them with the wire cutters. Now unfortunately today I do not have a string winder with me, which is really handy with nylon strings. To have a string winder is a thing that you put it on the string and it loosens it really quickly, but I don't have any here. So I'm just going to do it by hand real fast. So basically once the strings are loose enough to cut, you just go ahead and cut them with the wire cutters, the old strings, cut them off. And then you're going to want to remove these strings from the headstock and also from the bridge. So you'll notice with the bridge they're tied on, so you have to kind of pull them off, and then they're tied around in this knot, and each string is usually tied to the string before it. So I start on the first string, pull each one off individually until the bridge is all, clear. If the strings are tied off up in the headstock, it's best to use some wire cutters to make it quicker so you don't have to undo the knot. Also, since they are nylon strings, you can cut through multiple wrappings of the string at once. It saves you some time. Okay, and once all the strings are off the guitar, you want to wipe it down real quick and polish it. Just like in the other video, I'm using some polish, Dr. Duck's Axe Wax, but any guitar polish is fine, don't use too much. And I usually start with the fretboard. Just wipe it down. Kind of polish it like wood, if you think about it, wood polish. So just like in the other video, I'm wiping down the whole guitar, the headstock, the body, just a little bit of polish on it. Also the neck behind there. Okay, and then I just take out a pack of strings here. These ones are normal tension, is what they call these. So these are just D'Addario, basic, just normal nylon strings, normal tension nylon strings. Now with these strings, what's cool is it shows you what number string, they're all numbered, and also what letter. So it says first string E, so I know that's the first string, second string B, here's our third string G, fourth string D, fifth string A, and our sixth string E. So I'm going to start with E here, the big one. So as you'll notice with nylon strings, there's no side of the string that has a ball tip at the end. So you have to tie off the string when you're putting it on the guitar. So I take the side, make sure it's the thick side for me, and I take this down here, and you go through the bridge. So you're going to stick it in straight through. See how it comes out this other end here? So you take that, and then you're going to wrap it in a knot twice. Once and twice. Oh, come on, guy. There we go. So see how I just made a double knot there? And you can see that it's wrapped around like a double knot. See that? That's all I really did. I just tied a double knot. On the next string I'll explain which direction I did, because I was kind of going fast, but basically then I kind of pull on either side to pull out the tension in the knot. And that's basically it. Then I've set the string into the bridge. So now I'm just going to pull the string up and set it into this hole next to the tuner. So I put it down into this hole, and then I wrap it up through the bottom, and I'm going up this way, so towards this direction. I'm wrapping it under that side of the hole. Then I always like the method of just tying off a knot. To me it just seems to work better, so I just tie off a knot there. And you can actually even do a double knot if you want, but that way you don't have to worry about the string moving. You know, so I'm leaving this side to be pretty slinky here. I have a lot of space in the string, but I've just tied a double knot here on this part of it. So that way the string's not going to come off, and then I'm just going to simply tighten it. So the way that this works is, because of the tuners, because they're underneath, I have to look at it. If I look at the tuner from directly on, I'm going counterclockwise, just like on all tuners. But in this circumstance, I'm turning it underneath the headstock because the tuner happens to be underneath. So that means basically I'm pushing with my left thumb and the thumb's going away from me. So it's always about the thumb pushing away should make the tuner go up. Now since I don't have a string winder today, it's going to take me a second. So nylon strings take a little bit longer. Alright, and then as I get more tension, I tune up the string a little bit to where it kind of sounds like around where E is. Low E, a little higher, but close enough. And then I'm going to cut off, not too far, but cut off a bit of the end, and then just push that underneath. Alright, so it's basically like that for each string. They're all the same on a classical. So I'm putting on the 5th string now, the A string. Now one thing to note is that as I pull this string down, you can see that, let me grab it here. You can see that it pulls up and covers the other string like this. So basically what happens is it comes out this hole, this string's already here hanging out. So as I pull this up to tie my knot, it's gonna pull this string into the bridge like that. See that? So that kind of happens with each string as it goes along. Kind of adds some extra security, I guess, on the string to hold it in there, even though it's already double knot tied. But that's kind of a standard. You'll see each string tying to the next one. So after I tie this, I'm going to cut this other string so then it doesn't keep going all the way to the rest of the strings, if that makes sense. Okay, so now when I tie my knot here, I go straight back and then I'm going to go from the left, under. So again, straight, we're all straight. Then I'm going back under the left side of the string, pulling it around, and then tying the knot that way. So the string just came out onto the left side. Then I do it again, second knot, tie it around. So now the string is exiting from the left side. It wants to go that direction, right? So push this down, pull this over, okay? Then we're going to tie this one up now, up here. Pull this down. Now one thing to mention is some people will definitely have different techniques of changing classical strings. Some people might not prefer to tie a knot up in the headstock. I think it works great. So for me it works, but if there's other ways of doing that, you know, go for it. So I just kind of get the string kind of, you know, not all the way up to the right note, not up to A, but just getting so it's not super slinky. Now I'm going to cut the 6th string, not the 5th one, but the old 6th string here, just a little bit, so it just will just hang out just a little bit there, but it's not going to get in the way of the next string. But I still have the 5th string hanging out here. And you just continue this process with each string. So now I'm on the 4th string, the D string. So I'm going to take this end here, through the bridge, and again this is going to wrap over this string here, being the string from before, the 5th string. So we're going to do our double knot underneath the left, knot number 1 underneath the left, knot number 2, boom, tighten, pull the string up, down in the tuner, up from the front, and you tighten that one up, turning it counterclockwise if you're looking at it from the bottom. Basically, it's always thumb away. All right, now we're on to the 3rd string, G string. So same thing. So this one now is not coated, it's just nylon. So it starts to get a little more slinky, or slippery, I guess. If you pull it up, same thing. First knot under the left, boom. Second knot under the left, pull it over, tighten, and then it goes up in the tuner. Now this time is reversed, so up from the bottom. Like the bottom side facing me, not the top side this way if you're pulling it out. Not super important, but it's when you're winding it, it makes more sense. So I'm doing a double knot here also because these strings tend to slip out more, especially if they're not wound. And then you tighten this one, pushing away with the thumb. Same kind of concept. And I like to give it some tension when I do this. I pull on the string so it tightens the knot as it's pulling up. All right, and then on to the 2nd string. Pull on that. All right, and then I get that tightened up. Cool, and then the last string here, the E string. Okay, and then I finish tying up this double knot here, hold the string up with tension and tighten it up, and then that's pretty much the end of it. Just after that I'm just going to clip some of the ends of these strings, but everything will be very secure in the guitar. And again, like I was saying before, there's all kinds of different ways of approaching stringing a classical guitar, but this is just the way that works for me. I've tried different ways, and sometimes the strings slip out of the headstock. And so yeah, that's kind of why I double knot at the top and the headstock as well as the bridge. Just works for me. Cool, so I'm just gonna snip these here. Snip. Cool, so I got a nice clean bridge, got that all organized. And then also snip the headstock. And it's as simple as that. After that, you just tune it up and just, also another thing to note when you're using tuners, just try to get the idea somewhere around in your head where that note is supposed to be. So E, that's obviously very low right here. So I'm gonna go way higher. B is also very low. I'm gonna start tuning all of them up. Let them all stretch also. Tune up D, tune up A, also E, low E. So I'm still really low. So then I'm gonna turn on my tuner. This guitar has a tuner on it. And I'm gonna look. Okay, it says G, so I'm not at E yet. I gotta keep going. E. I'm really low here. So these nylon strings are super stretchy. So these ones you have to really keep tuning in the beginning. So I'm only at D, I'm not even at E yet. I'm gonna work on the next string for a second. Kind of even out the tension. So we're still not at B on this one, we're at A. We're almost at B now, kind of B flat. Okay, this one's at, there we go, just about G. Right there. And then D was a lot higher. There's D. Okay, now A. It also tells you on the tuner which string. So like if you're on the first string, it should say E and then 1, meaning the first string. Or if I'm up on the 5th string and it says A, it should say 5. So it should correspond the number of the string also with the note. So right here I'm on E, and the tuner's telling me I'm on E and it's the 6th string, E6. Tuned to 440 hertz. Don't need to mess with any of those others, just 440 is the standard, okay? So E on the 6th string, it says E6, and it's right in the middle, okay? Then we have A. Okay, so I gotta go up. I'm flat, I'm on G. It's going up. Now it says A5. That means the 5th string. So A, 5, 5th string. And then we have D. So we're almost there. There we are. D, 4, 4th string, D, okay? And all tuners will tell you that. G, so we're at 3rd string G. So if the number is bigger than the string is supposed to be, that means the note's flat and you gotta tune it higher. So if I'm on the 2nd string and it shows like a different note and it says number 3, that means it thinks it's the 3rd string, so you have to tune it higher because it's supposed to be the 2nd string. So it keeps going flat because these strings are nylon, so they're very stretchy. So in the beginning you want to kind of wiggle them, stretch them out a bit, and then also play the guitar a lot, play chords, play different stuff and get them stretched out. But you're gonna have to keep tuning them for a bit to really get them all up to speed, and it might take a week or 2 even for them to set to the right tuning and stay in that tune, you know. Maybe not that long, maybe just a couple days, depends how often you tune it and play it. Yeah, that's basically how you restring a classical guitar. Again, this is an electric classical, but it's the same exact thing for a standard classical. You just have like an open body with a sound hole right here. So, all right, thanks again, guys.